Wide Awake in South Mississippi is brought to you by Against the Flow of Mississippi. Against the Flow of Mississippi is the story of Jake Fayard, a Marine veteran who is unhappy with the political machine running the state of Mississippi. He decides to fight the corruption from the inside. Jake will face more challenges than he ever has and will stand up for what he thinks is right. His notoriously hot temper will push him to the edge of murder, along with his friend and brother, Kobe Bahanovich. Together, they will fight the system and give the power back to the citizens of Mississippi. Against the Flow of Mississippi is now available on Amazon. The Wide Awake in South Mississippi podcast is hosted by Anthony Allen. If you have a news story, or if you are a political candidate and want to get on the show, please give me a call at area code 904-860-2502. All right, y'all. Time for another episode of Wide Awake South Mississippi, and I'm going to change gears aside from what I've normally been. Here are the first 9 episodes I've been covering the coast. I want to talk about the state. I want to talk about why certain people have not been prosecuted yet, and now I learn of another, and this is old news, this part that I just found out recently because I haven't really been paying attention, and I apologize for that too. But, of course, I got out of the podcasting game for a while, so I really wasn't paying attention. But when I saw this, it really bothered me. Turns out we all know about Brett Favre. We all know about Phil Billy Bryant and his buddies. We all know about most of the establishment Republicans that received TANF funds. But this one really, really irritates me. TANF gave SuperTalk Mississippi more than $630,000. SuperTalk Mississippi. Now, for those of y'all who don't listen to SuperTalk, and I have listened to them sporadically over the years, SuperTalk Mississippi doesn't deserve anything. They're already subsidized by the state. I found that out. When I was talking to Kim Wade back in 2015. I found that out when WYAB offered me a spot on their radio station. WYAB out of Jackson. Well, it's actually out of Flora. And I still try to listen to WYAB. Clay Edwards, Kim Wade, good people. But what I'm trying to figure out here is why the radio super station for the establishment Republican, and this is what they are, people. This is exactly what they are. If you come on there, I've called Rhino's show. I've called Paul Gallo's show when I did listen, and they said something stupid, and I wanted to give my 2 cents. Of course, y'all that know me know I don't mind giving my 2 cents. But I'm trying to figure out why these people received anything. They are nothing more than a propaganda machine for the Mississippi establishment Republican Party. And you know what the establishment Republican Party is? These are the guys that hate Chris McDaniel, which I'm proud to call a friend of mine. Don't always agree with him. Don't get me wrong. He's been MAGA-ing quite a bit lately, and I'm not a MAGA. Y'all know this. But he is still probably one of the few honest politicians that are in Jackson right now. When you have people that are pulling these stunts, it begs the question, why? And then we got somebody like Shad White. Shad White come in here and he started exposing all this stuff. He started investigating it. The first big name person that he went after that really got his name out there and got everybody looking at him was, of course, old Brett Favre. If you ever dealt with the Favres in Hancock County, they think that they're pretty much invincible and untouchable. And for the most part, they have been proven right. For the most part. And it's unfortunate that it's happened. But Shad White went after him, and then he started going after quite a few other people. And as far as I can tell, Shad White's done a good job. But when are these people going to pay the piper? When are these people going to get fraud charges? I'd like to see some of these people brought up on felonies. I would love nothing more than to see the former governor, the current governor. I'm sure Haley Barber's in there somewhere. I still believe he's still pulling the puppet strings. When are these people going to pay their dues? I mean, he's gone after small town city officials. He's gone after quite a few other people, and they paid their dues, but the big fish always seem to slip away. I want to know why. Why are these people above the law? Why are these people being protected? Why are these people not being held to account for their actions? Now, I'm going to tell you, as far as TANF goes, I'm against it. I am 100% against social welfare programs. All of them. Every one of them. I consider them a burden on society. I don't think that I should have to go to work 40 hours a week and have my tax dollars be forced to pay for somebody else when if I choose to donate to somebody else, I can always donate to a private charity. This is what I'm against. And y'all can like it or, y'all can tell me, well, Anthony, we signed a social contract at birth. I don't remember signing a social contract. I don't remember anybody getting my consent to do anything like that. I've always been against it. I work for a living. It's just how I do stuff. I went out and I've got licenses and certifications and skills to do things to make money. And, if somebody wants to work at a fast food restaurant or wash dishes their entire life or work at Waffle House for tips, I mean, that's fine. If they think they can survive on it, God bless them, good luck, but I don't think I should be responsible for their life's actions. I got a cousin in the east central part of the state. I think last I heard, she had like 9 or 10 kids. I don't speak to her. And she did that purposely. Her and her now soon-to-be ex-husband, I guess, did that purposely. They did that purposely to try to get as much as they could. She would work up. She knew the dollar amount that she could make before they kicked her off of social entitlements. And she would work to that point, and he would go out and work, and he would work nuclear shutdowns and, do that for a while. He was a union carpenter, emphasis on union. And, they would go out and they'd work these shutdowns and then get laid off, and he'd probably be laid off half a year or better, living on unemployment. And that's abuse of the system as far as I'm concerned. I have never drawn unemployment a day in my life. Food stamps either. wouldn't know how to apply for unemployment. I actually looked into it just to see, and it's like, man, I'm not doing all this. I'd rather go out and find a job. That's just the way I am. I'd rather work. If I work, I know I'm getting it honest. But these social entitlements are what fuels this corruption. Now they're not even used for their intended purpose. You have families that are supposed to be getting this stuff that have a legitimate need to get this stuff. And they can't, or there's not as much of it there because of these Jackson cronies that will sit there and just take what they want. I'm really wondering when there's going to be some charges on this. And I don't want them, here's the thing. I would love to see him catch state charges, but unfortunately, as long as there is a Republican or an establishment Republican in the governor's mansion, if they get state charges, they'll get a state pardon. That's the truth. That's how this works. And I would love nothing more than to see these people go work the long line at Parchman, but that's not going to happen. These people will never see a day in jail. They will have their 15 lawyers fight the state's 15 lawyers, and then nothing will happen. They will die of natural causes before they see judgment. And unfortunately, this is what contributes to Mississippi being the number one in corruption in this country. Things like this. There are other things that contribute to it as well, but this is a major one. Why are we allowing this? That's my question. Why should we as a society, as taxpayers of this state, why do we allow the cronies to run this state? And I have an answer for you. My answer is very clear. Number one, if you're not in the establishment, and look at who's been governor. Haley Barbour, his lieutenant governor. Phil Bryant, his lieutenant governor. Tate Reeves. And Tate's going to get reelected this year just because he's got that R behind his name. Why are we allowing these people to continue to operate in this state? I'm sure Shad White, if he keeps pushing too hard, he's going to find him. They're going to find somebody to run against him, and they're going to fund the crap out of his campaign. But then again, no big fish has been arrested. So while he may be bringing it to light, nothing's really being done. And it bothers me. It's kind of like, on one hand, I could tell Shad White wants to, but on the other side of it, he's not. I know Shad White really probably does want to do something. Otherwise, he wouldn't have opened his mouth. He wouldn't have said, hey, look, this is going on. I know what's going on. I'm investigating. My office is investigating this. If he didn't genuinely want to do something about it. But something's holding him up. The old saying in sports is, if you don't win the last game of the year, nobody cares. Hey, Shad, if you ever do listen to this podcast, with all due respect, brother, You need to win the last game of the year. You need to get that. You need to get up there and finish this thing. We need to see justice in this state. We need to put these people in their rightful place, which is prison. The reason I don't want it to go federal, I really want them to go state, but of course that's not going to happen. But the reason I don't want them to go federal is I don't want them down at some golf course where the only thing they're going to do while they're in federal prison is work on their racquetball game. I want them to go where common people go. Prison's not supposed to be fun. I spent years working them. I know what prison's supposed to be like. It's not supposed to be cruel or inhumane, but it's definitely not supposed to be fun. But unfortunately, rules for thee, but not for me. I run stuff. I am the governor. I am the governor's puppets. I'm going to answer to the governor. And if I do go to prison, I'm going to go to prison where it's nice. I'll be spending my days on some golf course down in Florida. I'll be spending my days, having federal COs bring me my meal on the 9th green. That's not how it's supposed to be. But yet you filthy peasant, that's beneath me. If you do the same thing I did or try to do the same thing I did, you're picking cotton at Parchman. You're picking tomatoes on the long line. You're picking soybeans. You're working the catfish farms up there at Parchman. You're going to be swinging a hoe on the side of Highway 49 up there, clearing ditches. You filthy peasant, because you're below me. We need to stop this. We really need to stop this. White collar crime, blue collar crime, the white collar politicians go one place and they go to a health spa with correctional officers. Poor people, you lowly peasants, if you were to do this same thing, you're going to be in an open bay dorm with 72 other men. You're going to be eating ramen noodle and honey bun goulashes. If you're lucky, you'll have whole shebangs, which are pretty good, by the way. Kefi coffee ain't bad either. You lowly peasants, you're going to be sleeping on a mat that's about a half-inch thick, if you're lucky. Unless you get one of those tear-proof mats, and then it kind of sticks to you. You get 2 sheets and a blanket and a pillow. A very hard pillow. You filthy peasants, you. That's what you're going to get if you try this. But me, because, I'm a politician and I have money and I have people that give me money so that I can continue to screw you filthy peasants, I'm going to get the luxury suite if I'm even prosecuted. This needs to change, and it needs to change now. It doesn't need to change next week. It needs to change yesterday. It needed to change years ago. Now, let's look at what these rules for thee but not for me types have done. They've taken away our right to vote, or our right to petition in Jackson, our ballot initiative. Used to be before medical marijuana, which really upset Super Talk Mississippi. I actually listened back in 2020. I was listening to Super Talk one day, and Paul Gallo had Phil Billy Bryan on. And old Phil Billy was on there and was talking about how bad marijuana is. How bad marijuana is going to ruin the state. And how nobody should vote for marijuana. You filthy peasants, you're not entitled to it. Even though marijuana by itself hasn't ever killed anybody. I'm not going to get on here and argue the medicinal benefits of marijuana because I don't really care and I don't use the stuff, and personally I am against it. But I'm not against you using it. As long as you're not driving while you're using it, I don't really care. You filthy peasants, you. So, Phil Billy was on there, and him and Paul Gallo agreed that medical marijuana should never pass in Mississippi. It was a bad idea. Blah, 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 blah. And then, of course, Tate Reeves was against it. You know, he wanted to limit the amount of THC that's in it. Who really cares? Honestly. Who cares how much THC is in your joint? I don't. But that's what he did. And then as soon as it passed, you had a mayor in Madison, Mississippi that decided that she was going to take away our ballot initiative because of a technicality. No other ballot initiative that has ever passed in the state of Mississippi has even been looked at with that scrutiny to find that little loophole. And it's wrong. 2015, there was also a ballot initiative, and they fought it. There's documented evidence of people getting arrested. Circuit clerks were throwing away entire pages of signatures because one didn't quite match up to somebody's voter registration. Well, nobody has the same signature all the time. It's going to be close, but it's going to be close and it's going to be comparative. But when you overlay a signature on a signature, there's going to be little differences. The pen might be a little different. The paper might be different. The surface that you're signing on might affect the way your hand goes. I mean, come on, we all know this. This is knowledge. This is known fact. It's not going to be a complete overlay. But because of that, that's exactly what they were doing. And it's wrong. It's really wrong. Is wrong is what it is. Anyway, y'all think about it. Wide Awake, South Mississippi. I will catch you filthy peasants later. And y'all up in Jackson, I hope someday somebody makes y'all take your medicine. Here's Filthy Peasant 1 saying, have a nice day.